Hi everyone, we're going to sketch a graph of this polynomial, and we have f of x equals x squared times x plus 2 to the first power times x minus 4 to the second power. Now if you add these up, we can get the degree. So we're going to add up our multiplicities here, and that equals 5. Alright, that's an odd number, and our lead coefficient is positive. We'll get back to this in just a minute. Now let's look at our y-intercept. That is when x is 0. So you'd have 0 squared times 2 times negative 4 squared, which equals 0. And our zeros happen when our y is 0. So we'll have a 0 here. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. And 4 minus 4 is 0. So we have negative 2 comma 0. That's with multiplicity equals 1. And we also have 0 comma 0 and 4 comma 0 with multiplicity equals 2. So that just means where the multiplicity is when we graph this. If it's an odd number, we can cross the x-axis. If it's an even number, we cannot. We have to make a U-turn. Our maximum turning points is our n minus 1. So 5 minus 1 equals 4. And we're also going to determine the intervals where our f of x is negative and where f of x is positive. We're going to do this after we graph. So let's go back to our end behavior. Just remember our degree is odd and our lead coefficient is positive. So we're right in this area here. All right. So that means ours happens to be y equals x to the 5th. But it still resembles the same graph. It's just flatter in this area and then it shoots up faster. So, but our main concern is our end behavior. So this is our end behavior right here. So if you graph from left to right, we're starting in quadrant 3 and we're ending in quadrant 1. Quadrant 3, your x and y are both negative. In quadrant 1, your x and y are both positive. So what this little piece means in here is that as x from 0 gets larger and larger, so does my y. Positive, positive. That puts us in quadrant 1. Now, from 0, as x gets smaller and smaller, so does my y. That means we're in quadrant 3. So let's graph this. I'm going to start in quadrant 1 somewhere, end in quadrant, start in quadrant 3, end in quadrant 1. Let's plot our zeros. We have a 0 here and negative 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. we're not going to graph max and min. We're not finding our max and min. So we're just going to estimate those because we just want to get the general shape of the polynomial. So starting from here, I'm going to negative 2. So I go to negative 2 here. Now, negative 2, this came from this piece. That has a multiplicity of 1. So that means I can cross the axis. And this is what I'm talking about. We don't really know how high. I guess you could plug in negative 1 and kind of get a general idea, but we're not going to worry about that on this video. So just go back down to your y-intercept. So your y-intercept and your x-intercept are at 0. That's a multiplicity of 2. That means I can't cross. That means I have to make a U-turn and come back. And again, if you wanted to plug in 2, you could, but we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to kind of come up here and come back to 4. Now, at 4, we have a multiplicity of 2. That's even. That means I can't cross. That means I have to shoot back up. So there we go. There's your graph. Let's see how many turning points we had. We turned here, 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 and here. Again, these aren't accurate values. Now all we have to do is determine where our graph is positive. So here's where y is 0. So where is our graph positive above the y equals 0? And where is our graph negative below the y equals 0? So where f of x is positive is this whole curve right in here. Okay, so that starts from -2 and goes to infinity. And where is our graph negative? Our graph is negative only in this portion here, which would be negative infinity to -2. So f of x is negative from negative infinity to -2. And that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.